Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sarel van Grenen, aka Mr. VG. And man, this is a good day for mathematics and a good day for statistics. Today we are specifically going to look at ogives, in other words, grouped data intervals. So when we looked at, I'm saying group data intervals as if that really means something, more grouped data and the diagrams that goes with them. So when we looked at ogives specifically, we are going to look at this question that was asked in the Department of Basic Education 2020 GDE paper. That's a Gauteng 2020 November exam. Please try this one yourself and then you carry on to the rest of the question paper. There is also a question 2.4 and question 2.5 and 2.6, but I'll give you some time later on to do those ones yourself. When I look at this, the first question is complete the cumulative frequency column on the table. So first of all, 29 plus 60 gives me 89. 163 plus 52 gives me 215. The 215 plus 32 must give me 247. But also understand that we can maybe lose one of these, and then you still have to be able to calculate it by simply adding. So 29 plus 60 gives me 90. Let's look at, on the set of axes below, please draw the cumulative frequency graph or the ogive. First of all, the graph needs a starting point. So I always choose the 145. Where do I get that from? Well, that is my lowest value, 145. So I'm always going to start off there. Then I'm going to use the endpoints. So the 150 and the cumulative frequency column. So I'm going to plot those there and draw a freehand sketch. I want to say I'm sorry for that squiggly line, but that's the best I can do on this iPad. Oh my goodness, it's sometimes difficult. But that's okay. The most important thing for you to remember is to not use the ruler. You mustn't connect with a straight line. It must be a curve. It's a curve, not a straight line. So please pack away your rulers. Then I'm going to look at question 2.3. It says there, use your graph to estimate the median. So I'm going to get a half of the 250, which is the 125th value. So that is that value there, the 125th value. And I'm going to look, where does it go to my graph? Tracing it down, it is at about 163. So that is my median. Now, please understand, this is not 100% accurate. It is an estimation. It is a close estimation and it depends on how good my graph is sketched, okay? Then they're asking me for the interquartile range. So I'm going to have to get Q1 and Q3. So for Q1, I'm going to say a quarter of the 250. So I'm going to look for the 62,5th value, which is about there on the graph. Tracing it to my ogive, reading where it is. So my quartile 1 is approximately 159. Okay, I hope you've got that. Now, if you didn't get the median or the quartile 1, you try and do quartile 3 for me. So I'm going to take 3/4 of the 250, which is 187.5, find it on my axis, which is about there, tracing it to my graph, I'm going to look for a point down there, which is at about 168. And that is my quartile 3. So what is the actual question? Determine the interquartile range. So the IQR is the difference between quartile 3 and quartile 1, which is 9. But what if I asked you for the semi-interquartile range? You would have just taken that answer and divided it by 2 because semi just means half. So it would have been 4.5. But now, what did I forget in my sketch? I forgot the labels. Cumulative frequency and height. I forgot that. And if you forget it in the exam, -1. Now let's take this graph and copy it for 2.4, 5, and 6. So I want you to try question 2.4, 5, and 6. And it's easy. 1 mark, 1 mark, 2 mark question. And go for it and try it yourself first. At 2.4, it asks us in which interval does the upper quartile lie? Remember, there's my upper quartile. Well, that is simply in the interval 165 to 170. The next question, what percentage of the learners are 170 centimeters, not meters? Oh my goodness, that would be very tall. 170 centimeters or taller in height. So first of all, taking the 170 and finding that there are 200 people below, please get that 200 we're reading off is at 170 or below. So how many people are actually taller than that? Well, 50 people are going to be above that. So to answer the question, 50 out of the 250 times by 100%. So 20% of the people are above or taller than 170 centimeters. So please get this, ladies and gents. If I read off an N value, a cumulative frequency, that always gives me below 170. So that 200 is how many people are up to 1.7 meters tall, 170 centimeters. Now the next question 2.6, for me is a bit of a doozy for 2 marks. So I'm going to first of all, wanting to do standard deviation, I must look back to my frequency table. And for me to get the standard deviation and use my calculator, I can't use intervals. I've got to get actual values. So I'm going to have to get the number that is exactly in the middle of the 145 and the 150. And that is the class middle value. So which number is exactly in between 145 and 150? Well, that's 147.5, which means, and a way to calculate it is 145 plus 150 over 2, just adding the numbers together and dividing it by 2, and then doing that for every single interval. So in your calculator, those are going to be my X values, while the F values on your stats on your calculator is going to be that 6, the 23, the 60, the 74, etc. So when I put this in my calculator, I get a standard deviation of 6,43. I'm not going to try and analyze this too much. Again, that is consistency. But on its own, the 6,43 doesn't matter much until we start comparing it to other sets of data. So wow, an amazing video and one kind of question that's going to be there in every single exam from now straight through to matric. We love ogives. We love box and whisker diagrams, guys. These are bread and butter things that you can score marks on if you know how they work. So stay tuned for our next video, which is going to go over towards some analytical geometry. But for now, this is me signing out. Keep well, ladies and gents. Keep yourself safe. Cheers.